A gaping hole through the middle of the Chicago front. You could drive a 16-wheeler there.
Did Wayno just say 16-wheeler, Butchie?
Yeah, he did.
Am I unfamiliar with that configuration?
Isn't it an 18-wheeler?
That's what I thought, but I don't know.
Did he have a Butch Botch?
I don't know if there's a Butch Botch. Before I get too quick on that, Wayne's a veteran, and I don't know trucking as well as maybe Wayne does. Either
Trust
way,
me, there's 18 wheels. I saw how much spray they were throwing up in that rain. I was hoping I'd run into a 16-wheeler.
Is the breakfast bar open for you at the Hampton Inn? Did you make a run?
Absolutely.
Nice. What do you got? Show us what you
got.
No.
Top 3 Tuesday. I'm going to tell you top 3 things I saw at the breakfast bar.
Top 3 free breakfast items at a quick stay hotel that puts you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Time for Matt Schneidman. You can hear him every night, 6 p.m. right here on The Game. The Matt Schneidman Show covers the Packers for The Athletic. It's sports coverage so good it's worth paying for, and I do. Matt, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Didn't Wisconsin play at home last night? Why is Butchie at a hotel?
Because I've got a game tonight, Northwestern Montana State on BTN, on Big Ten Network.
Oh, okay.
Down in Chicago.
Oh, the game's not paying you enough? You got to do Big Ten Network games?
Likes his
options. No, they had to go hire some Packer insider, I guess.
We should. Fair enough.
No, Butchie just loves doing games. He loves basketball, and it doesn't hurt to have a couple different things going on. You know that, Matt. So,
No, not at all.
Yeah, Butchie drove through the night, got 3 hours of sleep, but he's super happy now because he's got some free food from the Hampton Inn.
Got a good cup of coffee here.
Huh. That's right. Matt is brought to you, as always, our Packer Insiders brought to you by Rogers Behavioral Health, Hildebrand Law, the Great Taste of Miller Lite, and Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. I didn't believe this when I saw it, but I now believe it because I did check it. Kenny Clark has 0 stats for 3 straight games. Nothing. Not even a tackle in 3 games. And he's playing a full load of snaps. What, Matt, what is going on?
Yeah, I think, Kenny and Rashawn Gary have been kind of in the same boat of guys that get double teamed all the time, and they still got to find ways to produce. And there's reasons teams are giving them that much attention. I saw a chart the other day from ESPN Analytics, I think it was, about the most double team defensive tackles in the NFL.
Okay.
And Kenny Clark is in the top 5. So he's one of the top 5 most double team defensive tackles in the NFL. And his production, according to that chart, in terms of pressure created off those double team instances, is actually fairly high. The graph is split up into 4 quadrants, and you want to be in the top right one. That means you get double teamed and you produce. And Kenny Clark is in the top right quadrant. So listen, I'm not about to sit here and say Kenny Clark's been great this season, but I do think it's important at times to contextualize things beyond the box score. Same with Rashawn Gary. Neither of them have been good enough this season, but I don't think they've been as bad as people think.
Okay. And statistically speaking, do stats for an interior lineman matter that much? Or do you go by the more advanced stuff like you referenced, the charts, the graphs, the analytics?
No, I think they matter to an extent because, again, I'm not excusing them from anything. They have not been good enough creating pressure, stopping the run, and all that stuff. But, I think if you really want to get into the weeds, you got to look at who's eating a double team to free up a one-on-one for someone else, or who's creating a pressure to force Caleb Williams into a sack elsewhere. Obviously, I'm just using him as an example. I'm not saying that happened. Who's stopping a run for 1 yard instead of letting it get to 4. There's so much that goes into this. That's why I'm hesitant to, despite watching a game and feeling a certain way based on the eye test, just pile on guys like Keyshawn Nixon or Quay Walker. Are they playing well enough? No, but I'm not sure it's as bad as it seems on tape, especially because we're not exactly sure what guys' responsibilities are on any given play when we watch the game. For example, I'll use week 1, for example. Saquon Barkley's 11-yard touchdown run that he didn't get touched on. It seems like it's Quay Walker's fault. because Quay Walker, it looks like, goes into the wrong gap. But as we learned, that's what Quay Walker was supposed to do. He's supposed to go into that gap to force Saquon Barkley to go into another hole. And what we learned after the game was that Edgerrin Cooper was lined up in the wrong spot pre-snap, and he was supposed to be where Quay Walker forced Saquon Barkley to go. So, we don't know exactly what's supposed to happen on a lot of these plays. And I just think when we critique and praise even, there's so much more context required that we don't really have.
So when you break down an all 22, do you come up with a list of things that you see or plays that you say, okay, I think Quay should be here? And then the next, when you get a chance to talk with the coaching staff, do you bring those then up to see exactly what it is before you come up with your articles and opinions that you put out there on social media? Because me and Zabe got into it yesterday about Quay Walker, and I said we don't know what, like, it sounds good to say Quay's playing bad, but I'm sick of those people on Twitter right away after a play happens because they don't know what he's being coached to do. So
Right.
How do you get to the bottom of it, I guess, is the intriguing thing to me.
Yeah, I don't watch the all 22 per se. I rewatch the game on the broadcast version every week, and I'm not watching every single player, so I'll have an idea of what stories I'm writing for later in the week and then watch the game based on that. So, for example, I'm writing a story today for tomorrow morning about why they haven't been good in the red zone, why they're the worst in the red zone under Matt LaFleur this season. So I'll go back and watch the red zone plays, for example, or a couple key red zone plays. Like, if you sit here and ask me, how did Sean Ryan play? I can't tell you because I would need to go back to the all 22 and watch specifically Sean Ryan, which you just don't have time to do. I did watch Zabe's video about Quay Walker that he tweeted, and he could very well be right. Zabe could very well be right.
I could be dead wrong too. I'm open to persuasion on this.
But my point is,
your point is you don't know what the role is,
right? But also, playing devil's advocate here, I saw that clip. It does not look good. But my thought is, they talk about that mush rush or that rush lane integrity and keeping guys in the pocket. Quay Walker doesn't know that the running back's wide open in the flat behind him. He's got his eyes on the quarterback. And let's say Quay Walker is supposed to be the spy in that situation. His job is to not let Caleb Williams get out and run for the first down. If he goes gangbusters on that rush, it's easy for Caleb Williams to just step one other way because Quay Walker can't stop. If he's going 100 miles an hour, Caleb Williams can go one step to the right or one step to the left, and he's got a first down. My thought was the reason Quay stopped like that and played kind of a zone defense look was because his job there is to spy on Caleb Williams and make sure he doesn't escape the pocket. Doing so, keeping him in that gap, make sure that he doesn't escape the pocket. Now, did it make it easier for him to hit the check down for the first down? Absolutely. But that's not Quay's job to make sure that guy's not open. That's someone else's job. So does it look good on first watch? No. But I bet you if we ask Jeff Hafley about that play, he'll say Quay did it right, that he was supposed to make sure Caleb Williams didn't get out of the pocket, and he did his job. The end result of the play, obviously not what the Packers want. But that's my point, in that there just seems to be more to every play than we see on the surface.
No. I understand the whole spy concept. I just I never really saw the spy concept when you're on that side of the line of scrimmage. That
Keyshawn Nixon,
across,
Keyshawn Nixon did something similar a couple games ago. I'm not sure if
he did.
I'm not sure if it was against Anthony Richardson or who else, but Keyshawn Nixon came off the edge and had a free run at the quarterback for a sack, and he stopped and kind of played his own defense. And my thought is his role is to make sure the quarterback doesn't get out of the pocket, and he did that. And you're thinking, well, that's a sack. But if you sidestep him one way, then he has a free lane where that guy should be. So
I always thought spying, you'd be lurking at the line of scrimmage, keeping all your options open to keep from a big play. But once you're actually attacking the quarterback, now you're in the business of attacking him. So to pull up like that was unusual for me to see. But I bet you somebody will ask old Coach Hafley about that on Thursday.
I will. I'll do it
on Thursday. Well, you don't have to. You got a limited number of questions. I'm not going to.
No, we got 15, 20 minutes with him. I'll ask just for you, Zabe.
I'm not requesting that per se.
Oh, it sounds like you are.
Well, if he did make a mistake, I doubt he would throw his player under the bus.
I think we would be able to tell if he made a mistake.
Okay.
You know, these coaches don't just directly throw players under the bus, but you'll be able to tell,
Okay.
read between the lines, if he did something wrong based on Halfley's response.
All right, let me zoom out a second.
Sure.
Is Quay Walker any good?
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad player. You know, watching the game back, he has that one missed tackle against, I don't know if it was against the run or a Caleb Williams scramble at the line of scrimmage. Again, I think it's in between two things. I think it's can he be better? Absolutely. I don't think he's the best player on the field, but I kind of do agree with Butchie when he says people just pile on to these, you know, Twitter narratives and with Keyshawn Nixon and Quay Walker, and they see someone say, "Oh, he's not good," and then they see him miss a tackle, and then it's a snowball effect. Again, am I saying that Keyshawn Nixon and Quay Walker are playing extraordinarily well? No, they need to be better, but I don't think they're hindrances like people are making it out to be. There's a reason Quay Walker played 100% of the snaps on Sunday. Jeff Halfley.
What's that reason?
Because the Packers think he gives them the best chance to win. The Packers aren't like idiots. They're a 7-3 football team. They have a very good defensive coordinator, I think. If Jeff Halfley felt even close to similarly about Quay Walker as the fan base does, he wouldn't play. Guess what? The fan base is, I don't think, and I'm not trying to insult the intelligence of our listenership and readership, but I think the perception of guys like Keyshawn Nixon and Quay Walker compared to from what the fan base thinks to what they think inside the building is far off. Keyshawn Nixon and Quay Walker played that entire game. A guy who the fan base is accurate on is Eric Stokes. Guess how many snaps Eric Stokes played on Sunday? 4.
Right.
Correct.
So the fan base is critical of Eric Stokes, and guess what? It's backed up by how much the coaches play him. Jeff Halfley knows more about football. He's forgotten more about football than I will ever know, than most fans will ever know. So I think for a 7-3 football team with a very good defense, obviously not Sunday, but overall a very good defense, I would trust kind of what they're doing with these snap counts. If they thought Edgerrin Cooper really gave them a much, much better chance to win, they would play him.
Right. But what if the snap counts for Quay Walker start sunsetting into the 30% range? Will that just mean that the fans were at the cutting edge of he's not good enough at that position? Or how would that look then?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of fans said that about Stokes before his snap counts sunsetted down into the single digits.
Well, yeah, they can say that they're ahead of the curve or whatever, but I think I'd have to look back because I'm not sure if Stokes played all the snaps when, like in week 2, Carrington Valentine split snaps with Eric Stokes against the Colts. Obviously, part of this is Jair Alexander being unhealthy. Stokes has to play in those situations sometimes. And then also it came down to, you know, Keyshawn Nixon was at the nickel, so they needed Stokes outside. But then as Javon Bullard got more snaps at nickel, they became more comfortable with a rookie playing there.
Right.
So then they moved Keyshawn Nixon outside. So I think Stokes is an interesting case because there have been a couple things lineup-wise that kind of forced him to get snaps. Carrington Valentine's injuries early in the season, Jair Alexander's injuries, Javon Bullard being a rookie, and you know them maybe not being comfortable putting so much on his plate because nickel's a completely different position than safety. With Quay Walker, he's playing 100% of the snaps. I can guarantee you in the next month, he's not going to be anywhere close to 30% of the snaps. But I get what you're saying.
Okay, fair enough. Did he make, though, any plays that stood out to your eyeballs on Sunday?
Yeah, there was one run stop, and you can say he needs to make more than that, and I would agree with you.
Yeah,
like,
if you're playing 100% of the snaps and you made one play that makes anyone go, wow, that was a great play, it's going to be hard for a lot of fans to go, I think he's just fine.
Right, but I also think there was maybe one play where you can definitively say Quay Walker was the main culprit on that play. I only noticed one. And if you want to throw in the one where he kind of spun Roschon Johnson, or I can't remember if it was Swift or Johnson around, like forward 3 yards, you can throw that one in there. But even then, like, tackling's hard, and
right,
they didn't get a touchdown on that play anyway. So listen,
overall, the defense is not nearly as disruptive as they would like it to be. Is that a fair statement?
right, but they're close to being a top 10 defense in the league, and I would say
Under what top 10 or under what? Yards per game, points per game, third down efficiency. I mean, there's a lot.
I'm going on points per game, and I want to give you an
an
exact answer because I'm not sure exactly what they.
Well,
ran.
you looked that up, so I mean, you can stick around for the whole other segment if you want. I mean, I was trying to have this conversation yesterday. I think I said the same stuff. So if you just want to,
Butchie's sipping his coffee here.
Yes,
it's tasting.
Quay Walker's great.
So
Kenny
good.
Clark is just fine. I'll just go back to
That's not what I'm saying.
Applesauce.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. And
No,
I mean
say that to me, Schneidman.
Right, I know, but I think it's important to have context. The Packers rank number 10 in the NFL in scoring defense. They have 19 takeaways. From a pass rush perspective, have they been as disruptive as you'd like? No. But overall, they have, I would say, in a very, maybe not very, but a distinctly above average defense.
Right. And they've played Will Levis and Anthony Richardson and the Rams with no wide receivers, just for the record, just saying.
Yeah, but you could go through every single defense and say, well, these guys play this quarterback and this quarterback and this quarterback, so they maybe aren't as good as they look. You could go through every team and say that.
I know. I would like them to create more mayhem, especially up front. But
I'll let them know you
Hafley.
want that.
So I'm sure Hafley would as well. You know,
I'm sure they would like their pass rush to be more consistent. Yeah, I would agree with you.
I think the reason they went for it on fourth down there at the goal line, Matt, was that they had no confidence they could stop the Bears if they kicked the field goal. Just my theory. Can't prove it, but that was my theory. LaFleur looked at it. He's
kind
like,
of down on the Packers. For a Packers fan, he's kind of.
There was a lot of people that were down yesterday. A lot of people told me Quay Walker was nuts and I'm an idiot and just look at this. And I said, well, then I had to pull out I've been in locker rooms. I kind of know how this works. And then that
didn't know I had to back the pack on every single thing they do and call them the greatest thing ever all the time. But I guess I do now.
You absolutely don't. But my job is
I want them to be more. I want them to be more disruptive on defense. That's it.
Right. And I think that's maybe why Tim Scott hired me, was because I can provide an objective, non-fan context to everything. And hopefully I do that.
And you absolutely do. And that's why we love you. All right, Matt, tonight, 6 o'clock, Matt Schneidman Show. More of that. And, of course, get his stuff on The Athletic. Subscribe as I do and get the best Packer coverage anywhere. Thank you, my friend.
Can I plug one thing real quick?
Yes, sir.